I wanted to share a story about something that happened to me today, a realization that I had that will hopefully help you, um, live a better life. Because if I'm not sharing all of the trips and tumbles that I go through, well, you know, what's the point? Hi, Nadia. Hello. Okay, so let's chat. Let's chat about what I realized today after years of suffering. So, first of all, I'm going to drop the statement. Wow, I cut myself. I don't know how. I'm bleeding. Interesting. Hi, April. Get to the point, Paul. So, this is the statement. You will suffer for as long as you are willing to suffer. I'll let that sink in. You will suffer for as long as you are willing to suffer. Okay? And the reality is that suffering can look like a lot of different things. It can look like people pleasing. It can look like working at a job that you don't like. It can look like being in a relationship that doesn't serve you, living in a town that you don't like, whatever it might be. Suffering can look like, sacrificing yourself, being a people pleaser, not taking care of yourself, continuing that cycle of self-sabotage, right? And we all suffer through different things in life. I mean, living our best life is one of the most challenging things that we can do because it's constantly switching the mindset that we've been conditioned to believe that we aren't enough, we aren't good, we aren't worthy of this amazing, phantasmical life that we deserve, and flipping the script, thinking that, we're good enough, we are worthy, we are deserving every single day. Hey, Dana. So we've been conditioned to believe that suffering equals success, right? Suffering equals success, right? I was talking to a friend yesterday who works 16-hour days, works on the weekends too, and she's like, for what? She's like, I do it to myself. I didn't create the boundaries. Hey, Kale, I didn't create the boundaries for myself. And therefore, because I didn't create the boundaries, my boss and my peers all expect me to work 16-hour days and be available on the weekends. It's on me. Okay, so what do we do when we have this realization? Well, when I was talking to my friend, we were just kind of brainstorming. She was like, how do I scale back on this work? Because if it doesn't get done today, it's not going to get done tomorrow, it's not going to get done the next day, and I'm just going to continue working and feeding into this suffering, right? And I just stopped her and I said, hey, how much longer are you willing to suffer? She was like, what do you mean? I was like, how much longer are you willing to suffer through the lack of boundaries? And she was like, I hadn't really thought about it that way. So let me as I go through this story, let me kind of reframe and support you reframing this concept of the times in your life where you don't feel good, where you don't feel aligned, where you feel in lack, or you feel like blah, 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 blah. You're just like working a job because you need to pay the bills, not because it fills you up with joy. That is suffering. And that is something that you are playing a large part in. Now, I know that there's always going to be that person listening or experiencing this conversation and saying, that's not my story. Great. I'm thrilled and I'm excited for you. Please know that all of these anecdotes and the things that I share with you are not one size fits all. Self-love is the devotion to your individuality, what makes you you, right? So I can tell you the story and hope that you fit into the category, but some of us will continue to suffer when we don't think it's suffering. Some of us will not be willing to take ownership of the suffering and want to continue to blame everyone else for it. You picking up what I'm putting down? So yes, these anecdotes and this story, you might not feel like you can 100% relate. However, what I want to encourage you to do is consider what it would feel like to take radical responsibility for your life, right? I know that it takes more than one person to do this dance, right? My friend has a boss who's also overworking and peers who are also overworking. So there's a culture of overworking. Kind of a culture of overworking here in in America anyway, in the United States. Western culture is very much like you're not successful unless you're burnt out and sad and alone and building other people's dreams or whatever, you know? So as I'm sitting there with my friend and I'm like, okay, so is there any way you could work less? And she's sitting there and she's like, I don't really think so. Don't really think that there's any way that I can work less. And I said, okay, so is that okay with you? And she looks at me again like, I didn't know that I got to answer these questions, right? Like telling her that she's the one that created the lack of boundaries, telling her that she's the one who gets to decide if it's okay with her or not. She's the one who gets to decide, you know? Like, and she sits there and she's like, Paul, I don't think it's okay with me, but I don't know how to change it. I don't know how to stop working less. I don't know how to stop suffering. I said, that's okay. All you have to do right now is acknowledge right here and right now that it's not okay with you. And the universe will then divinely open up and support you. We have to give ourselves permission to open the door to not suffering anymore. So here's a way that I've been suffering that is pretty vulnerable and not a cute look. And I'm 100%, I'm ending the suffering, hardcore ending the suffering for me. So right now, hi, Nicole. Hi, Laura Jeanette. And yes, Kimberly, 100% heart. Love that for us. So in my business, I have been in what I call feast or famine, okay? If I'm enrolling in a program or I'm, I have some one-on-one clients that I sign on, I have an abundance of money, okay? And when I was a child, my dad held all of the financial strings in the family. So every request had to go through him. Right? I never had autonomy. I never had an allowance. I was never able to make my own financial decisions until I was 14 and got a work permit so that I could have a job, and then ended up working 2 jobs in high school because I really just wanted to have my own financial autonomy. So throughout all of that, I had been conditioned to believe that either I have to work really hard and make lots of sacrifices to have my own financial autonomy, or I have to rely on someone else to save me or take care of me. And of course, we love the former, right? We love the idea of being taken care of, being saved by someone else, not having to worry about that, just being a lady of leisure, living my best life, having that bank account full of money, honey, right? And that's, of course, an abundance mindset, the latter part of it, but the beginning part is like I was putting full trust and reliance on my father to support my financial dreams, right? So if I needed something, had to ask his permission. If I wanted this, had to ask permission. If I didn't get a scholarship to a school, we had to sit down and talk about it. He's like, well, I can afford to put you through this college, but not this one. So you're going to have to decide whether you want to take out loans, you want to do this. And I was just like, okay, so this is all, stuff that we go through. And I'm grateful that I can now put the 2 pieces together. So where I'm getting with this is, for so much of my life, I allowed other people to decide what my financial situation looked like, whether it was my parents, whether it was my clients, right, saying yes to me. I put all of my eggs in the basket of my clients saying yes to the program or paying me on time or whatever it was. I took no ownership for my financial wellness. And then when I met my husband, Richard, I really doubled down on this. I want him to carry us. I want him to take care of this family because that is what feels safe and good for me. And what I found myself doing, especially in 2020, was falling into this saboteur to my business so that Richard always had to swoop in and save me, whether it be him helping pay my half of the rent, or him picking up the tab for meals, or him paying for the car, or whatever it might be. The reality of this situation is I realized that I was really making myself suffer because I wanted to be taken care of in a way that isn't realistic, right? Because it didn't feel good when I was a kid to not have any financial autonomy, to not learn what it means to have an allowance or have my own checking account or all these types of things, right? I was very much conditioned to believe that other people were in charge of my finances and other people were in charge of my security and my abundance. And I have been working really, really hard on unlearning that story. And it's something that I really just pinpointed that, oh, that's why it's like I'll enroll all these people and then I'll spend all the money and then I'll be like, oh my God, how am I supposed to pay my rent, right? And granted, there's like things between that, underneath that I get to work through financially. I don't know if you can relate to any of this, but why I'm sharing this with you is that there's always something that we can do to make our lives feel better. Right? There's always a way that we can stop suffering. There's always something that you can do right here and now to change your life for the better. Whether that's shifting your mindset, whether that's sending me a DM and being like, hey, Paul, what you said on that live really inspired me. I'd love to work with you, right? Whatever it is, if there's something that isn't feeling right in your life, you have the power to change it. You have the power to at least put it out into the universe that it's not feeling good for you, right? I'm not over here telling you to quit your job, go start an online business and hope that everything lines up. That's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you to do is to acknowledge that you might not be giving yourself enough credit. You might not be giving yourself the opportunity to actually be the most empowered version of yourself. You might not be giving yourself permission to look in the mirror and say, hey, I can choose different today. I don't have to be the victim. I don't need saving. Or whatever it might be. Is this resonating for you? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? So I do a lot of this. My favorite part about being, a self-love coach and working with my clients on empowering them to be the most just authentic and beautiful versions of themselves is that I get to grow and learn and be this powerful version of myself every single day. And I get to lead with vulnerability and authenticity and just show up and be myself. And, if you would have told me 10 years ago that when I was just starting my self-love journey, that I would be guiding people through the same type of miraculous magic, I would kind of be like, okay, all right. I don't know what I'm doing right now, but I guess I'm going to know later. And that's really what happened. Hey, Beth. Hey, Nathani. Hey, Megan. So ultimately, the reason that I'm sharing this statement that you will suffer for as long as you're willing to suffer is because I find that there's this kind of maybe like a fork in the road, right? And I find that this happens a lot with people who apply to my program. Now, filling out the application to join my program is such a catalyst for magical change, right? It takes 3 minutes, and I've seen people say, wow, Paul, just filling out that application totally changed my perception of myself, because I ask questions like, what are you struggling with right now? What are your high-level goals when it comes to loving yourself and creating the life of your dreams? Sometimes people haven't even thought about it in that way, right? Just like maybe you haven't thought about how you are creating the suffering in your own life, or how you are sabotaging your most authentic life or relationships or dreams to stay safe in your suffering, right? This is something that happens more often than not. Safety in suffering. Because you know what it feels like to suffer. You know what it feels like to not feel good in your body or in your relationship or your present tense. You know what it feels like. So what if instead of continuing on that journey of knowing what it feels like, you dipped your toe into the unknown? Because it couldn't get, for lack of a better word, worse, right? And I like to think of it like this. What's the best that could happen? Not what's the worst that could happen. What's the best that could happen? So I'm really excited because I just onboarded a new member of the SelfLove Diet today. And we're doing things a little bit differently in the program. The fun part about having this program for the past 4 years is that it's constantly evolving, and I get to try on new things and experience different outcomes and ask for feedback. And I've just now doubled the time that you get to be a part of the container. So it used to be 3 months and now it's 6 months. And within that 6-month journey, I've created this new tracking system called the SelfLove Milestone. And I'm just so excited because I created this because I think that this keep me so motivated, because every week you have a new task to complete. And once you complete the task, you can earn self-love dollars, and you can spend those self-love dollars inside the self-love shop. So you could buy self-love swag or a virtual coffee date with me, or you can purchase a facial or massage in your hometown, all by doing the things that you signed up to do. So it's like this double accountability that's also really fun and gamifies it. For example, the first week you can earn 500 self-love dollars just by purchasing a brand new journal to use across the journey inside the SelfLove Diet. And it's just really fun things. You get rewarded just for doing the work, and I don't know, it just really excites me. Another thing that we just added in is that anyone who completes every single milestone, and there's 24 of them, anyone who completes every single milestone automatically gets entered to win a VIP weekend here in San Diego or wherever I am, wherever we decide to meet up with me. So, and that's all expense paid. And the reason I'm doing this is because A, motivation, and B, I love the VIP weekends and I love hanging out. And I also love just giving gifts of whether it's my time or a trip or something like that. So, those are some new things that I'm doing to help people stop their suffering within my programming. And it feels really, really good. And on top of that, you have access to the weekly calls. You get 3 one-on-one coaching calls with me or my soon to be, I'm going to be hiring on a SelfLove Diet coach as well, who's going to support with the onboarding and things like that. So it's just it's really fun to be here, living my life, evolving, being the most authentic version of myself, being vulnerable, being open, sharing my ups and downs and all around, whether it's here or on my podcast or with my clients inside my program. So if you're ooh, how do I learn more about that, Paul? All you have to do is head to the link in my bio and click the SelfLove Diet, and it'll take you to the landing page that you can read all about it, read about my experience, everything that goes into the SelfLove Diet, read some testimonials, watch some testimonials, and then you can also apply. And once you apply, we will review your application, and if we accept you into the program, you'll get an email from us with next steps. And it's just it finally, it's always going to be evolving, but right now it feels so juicy, so good, so fun, so fresh, so everything. And I'm really, really excited to welcome some of you into the program, because it's constantly evolving. And my favorite part about all of it, everything is my favorite part. As you could tell, I'm really obsessed with my programming, but one of my favorite things is that the people who join, they all join at the same time, that they're meant to join, meaning I've had 3 moms join in the same week, or I'll have people who are full-time caretakers, they all join at the same time, or people who are looking to find a new job or create a relationship or something like that. Everyone kind of joins at the same time. Just the universe brings the people to me. So it's like, you're not only going at it alone, right? It's a hybrid program. So it's part group, part one-on-one. And then of course you get access to the course and the community and everything like that. So I've just been thinking, like, how can I communicate to you, my sweet self-lover, that you don't have to suffer anymore? You don't have to suffer anymore. You don't have to suffer through the limiting beliefs that you aren't good enough, you aren't worthy of finding like true love within yourself and within others. You no longer have to suffer through any of that. And if I can support you just via this live or diving even deeper in that 6-month container inside the SelfLove Diet, I mean, that's what brings me so much joy, and that's why I do the things that I do. So I'd love to open this up for questions and ask me anything type of moment. If you have any questions about what we talked about before, how to stop suffering, maybe you have something that's going on in your life that feels really rough and tough, and this is my joy. I love channeling and supporting you. So, and in the meantime, if you want to go to paulfishman.love/self-love diet, you can apply to the self-love diet today. What else? What else is going on? I'm just feeling really good. Tomorrow's podcast episode's pretty heavy, but I'm really excited about it. Had a really, really vulnerable conversation with a father who will be on the show tomorrow. If you didn't know, I have a podcast called The Road to Self-Love. And then I'll probably record a solo cast for Thursday too. What else am I doing? Also have YouTube. Tuesdays, the Road to Self-Love goes live on YouTube, and Thursdays a vlog or some type of video goes live. I just have it all going on. Sharing here on TikTok. Creating a lot of stuff. Ooh, yeah. Getting my nails done on Thursday. I'm so excited. I've loved these so much, but I'm ready for the next. Ooh. You can't even really tell how beautiful they are. They're just so gorge. I pulled this card from my archetypes deck, the mask, and it was basically I pulled this a few days ago, and it totally reflects everything that we talked about in the sense of like self-sabotage, right? I used to wear this mask that like I needed to be taken care of to feel complete, and I've since and it was talking about how the mask is your safety, but you can sometimes taking the mask down is the most empowering thing you can do. And it was so wild to read that. So that's why I have it on my desk. It's also really beautiful. I don't think I summarized it quite the right way. Here, I'm going to pull a card for us from the Affirmator's deck. Let's see what comes up. All right. Ooh, I love this. Courage. No one is fearless. No one. But even though I'm not fearless, I am courageous. When fear shows up, I don't run away from it. I use my courage to conquer it. My courage allows me to walk right up to that fear and kick it in the nuts. Then quickly hide behind someone bigger until it goes away. These are kind of funny. It's like a little mouse standing there. Oh, so that's it. And isn't that funny? Because we've kind of been talking about that. Tracy. Okay. Great. This is great. Okay, I have something going on. I'm 41 and still struggling with a family dynamic where basically I'm the unwanted stepchild trying to earn love. I'm trying to set boundaries and choose myself. disengage. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to challenge you to remove the word trying from your vocabulary. You're doing it just by expressing it, saying it out loud, not keeping it safe. So celebrating you big time right now, girlfriend. Secondly, you are not alone. Okay. We've been conditioned to believe that family is everything, right? And that we need approval from all family members, our parents, our siblings, cousins, whomever it is, that we're good enough, right? Because when we come into this world, they're the ones who are in control, right? What I was saying at the beginning of this live, my dad was in control of my financial situation, so it was easy for me to just say, oh, I don't know, someone else take care of it, right? So if you feel like the unwanted stepchild, and I'm sure that there's lots that's happened to make you feel that way, and I'm not invalidating that at all. Like, that may be true. First of all, let's sit in that. Okay, what if that is true? What does that mean for you? How does that make you actually feel? Okay, because if you're not wanted by someone, why do you want to be wanted by them? And I know it's like, but it's family, right? And it's the stepchild trying to earn love. So basically, when we continue looking for love outside of ourselves, and this is the real work that we do inside my program, when you continue looking for love outside of yourself, you will never be fulfilled. You will never be fulfilled. Yeah. So your feelings don't matter to them. It feels like your feelings don't matter to them, and that may be valid. So sitting with that is, if your feelings aren't valid to them, what does that mean about you? Does it mean anything about you? So you'd have no family. Now, here's something that I've been really playing around with, because what I'm hearing is that your family makes you feel like crap, but but you're scared to lose them because then you wouldn't have any family. So just sit with that. Your feelings don't matter, and they make you feel like you aren't enough or good enough or unlovable. So it's like either you have a family that makes you feel like crap, or you don't have a family. So it's like this dance that we do. If in a perfect world, what do you want? Right? What do you want? Yeah, I love that too, Tracy. I'm brilliant. If you are not wanted by someone, why do you want them to want you? I know it's a lot deeper than that, and we can't just sit here and say that. Yeah, so here's where this needs to start. You get to start with you. You get to start loving and accepting yourself unconditionally and not relying on other people to tell you that you're lovable or tell you that you're acceptable. And this is my life's work. This is what happens inside my program. And if you're feeling called, I would highly recommend you consider heading to the SelfLove Diet page and checking it out and maybe applying. Because in the next 6 months, what you and I can do together is not only will we have so much more dedicated time face-to-face to work through all of this, you'll also realize that looking for love outside of yourself is never going to fulfill you. There is something that my therapist said to me a couple of years ago that totally broke me wide open, made literally I just started scream crying. I can't really cry any other way between you and me. She said, our parents will never love us the way we crave to be loved. The only person who can love you the way you crave to be loved is you. Period. End of statement. And the sooner that we witness ourselves resonating in our own self-love and our own self-acceptance, the sooner we can reframe the way life feels and looks and the way we experience it. I know it's not the answer that you're looking for. I know you were probably hoping for me to give you some tip or trick as to how to get others to love you unconditionally. But it has to start with you first, because basically when you're able to say, I love myself fully and show up that way, you teach others how to love you and you give others permission to love themselves first. We will teach others how to love ourselves just by showing up in that self-love moment. Even within ourselves, we run into conditions. Oh, I'll love myself if this happens, when that happens, if then that, right? If then. We're always making these if then agreements with ourselves. If I hit this, then I'll do that. If I get this, then I'll get that. Okay, what about right here and now? Let's celebrate where we are right here and now. I'm celebrating the fact that you have the self-awareness to even acknowledge that you're struggling with a relationship and you're so self-aware that you're willing to see that because your parent, you feel like the unwanted stepchild, it's affecting your mental and emotional health and well-being. It makes you want to create boundaries, but maybe you don't know where to start. Like, I'm celebrating that big time, because what I hear and what I acknowledge with that is that you're on the path already, because you're looking at yourself saying, what can I do differently right now? Hey, Katie, what can I do differently right now in my relationship instead of pushing it on other people? So that's where I am with that. You will suffer for as long as you are willing to suffer. Period. End of statement. So instead of suffering in that relationship or that job or that family dynamic, give yourself permission to say, what can I do differently today? What can I do differently today to make my life feel and look better, so that I can experience things differently? That's really the magic of radical responsibility, which I think is a big piece of self-love. It's like, okay, I was gifted these opportunities by the universe. I was given these people who make me really work hard for their love and acceptance, and I don't really even feel like they love and accept me, for a reason, right? This is happening for you, not to you. Whether it's to teach you how to let go of other people, whether it's to give you that extra push to find support. You know better than I do. And I'm sure you're sitting there being like, oh, Paul, I've known for years what I have to do, but it's just so scary and so hard. Sure, I get it. Listen, you don't have to do it alone. This kind of work literally excites me, keeps me up at night, gets me so hyped in the morning to work with all of my clients through all of this. And that's why I show up on these lives and just do the thing. Yep. I think that, so here's the thing. Once again, you are not alone. You are not alone. Remember the story that I told at the beginning about, my journey with my finances and relying on other people to tell me how to spend my money or the best way to do it, or if I could even spend it, right? We all have our own version of arrested development, and everything that happened in your life is valid, and everything that happened, you are not alone. trying to think, because I feel like I have a story of a client who was going through something similar. It'll come to me. Parents and approval. Oh, was my client Brittany. So right now I'm working with a couple of one-on-one clients. I'm probably gonna stop taking one-on-one clients, but I'm working with a couple, and believe it or not, both of them are actors. And it's really interesting because one of my clients, she is struggling with getting approval from her family because she wants to be an actor. And, she's working and she's successful with it, but also still craving that validation and being an actor and having the desire for the stage and fame is an added layer where I really think that 9 times out of 10, myself included, we want to be seen on a grand scale because we were never seen when we were little. And we were never seen by our parents or our friends or the people who we really wanted to be seen by. So the struggle gets real. And we look for external validation hard, right? So, yeah. So when it comes to releasing the need for validation from our family, once again, you just get to decide to give it to yourself. I have not spoken to my father since April. And I've there's a part of me that I really struggle with it because we were so enmeshed and he was so daddy, if I need help, I don't know what to do, please give me advice. And I would just blindly follow his advice. And then his advice started getting a little, I'm not sure that's the best decision for me right now. I don't really know what your motive is here, sir. So I removed that influence from my sphere. And not only has it been really challenging because not only has it been so challenging because I have to look at these things that I normally would just pass off to him or to other people. I'm no longer willing to sacrifice my joy and my happiness to make other people happy or to make other people feel safe or comfortable. And yes, Tracy, I know, girl, you are not alone. And the favoritism, it's hard to not be resentful. I get it. And your feelings are valid. Your emotions are valid. Of course we want love. Of course we want love. Hi, classroom and cats. Oh my God. Please. We're supposed to do a podcast episode. Wow. And this is why you're here. Okay. Anyway, so the favoritism towards the half siblings, it's so hard to not be resentful. So let's talk about resentment, right? And when we resent others, it's really because there's something within them that we want, right? So you're craving the favoritism, you're craving being seen by your step parent, and you're craving to be acknowledged that you are enough and you're good enough and all these types of things. And I get it. And I just want you to know that you're not alone. I want you to know that you are not alone. And these are real issues, and they're painful and they're hard, and there's a lesson in there. Listen, this is my favorite thing to do. I love it. Get me a hammer and get me a nail because I'm gonna nail it, honey. Not every time. But, it's the thing about the work that I do and the program and just showing up here on live on my podcast is that like all I'm doing is holding space for human experience and reminding you that you are worth it and you deserve it. And if you want love from your family, let's get underneath that. Let's figure out where that came from and why it's so important for you and why it feels almost crippling. I'd love to do that with you, with any of you. Because the thing about the work is that, yes, I frame it as I'm a self-love coach, but I'm really a life coach here with a foundation of self-love. Because if you're not doing it for you, right? If let's say you join my program, I have a lot of moms who come through my program and they're like, I'm joining your program so that I can teach my kids how to love themselves. And I'm like, hold the phone. That's not why you're here. And we quickly reframe that. You are not doing the self-love work for anyone but yourself. And if you think you are, well, I beg to differ. You are doing the self-love work so that you can stand on your own 2 feet and not rely on other people to validate you or not, or you're learning how to stop sacrificing yourself, whatever it might be. So I really want to encourage you to start noticing when you let other people, when you let FOPO, fear of other people's opinions, get in the way of you living your best life. Because at the end of the day, you're the only person that matters, right? If you are doing things to receive validation from other people, I guarantee you the second that you receive the validation, it's not going to feel any better. I know from experience. I know from living for the first 25 years of my life for my parents' approval. Kept on getting the promotions, kept on climbing the corporate ladder, kept on getting more money, more raises, more this, more bragging rights, more that. And every time I'd call my parents, I'd be like, that's great. So proud of you. But like, it was very lackluster. And I'd be like, but I'm doing this for you. Like literally doing this so that you will think that I'm enough. And I'm not getting that from you. And I realized that I would never get it from them. So my final thoughts for you are, you are here for a reason. Whether that's just to hear the message or to do something bigger about it. And I really, really would love to invite whomever's watching to apply for the SelfLove Diet. Now, just so we're clear, which I think that I'm the only one who can like really struggles, but the SelfLove Diet has nothing to do with weight loss, unless of course that's your goal. SelfLove Diet is a 6-month journey of learning how to habitually nourish, because that's what diet is. It's just habitual nourishment. Habitually nourish the devotion to your individuality. Self is the individual, love is devotion, and diet is habitual nourishment. And how we nourish ourselves is via the thoughts, feelings, emotions that we feel, the way we take care of ourselves, the way we speak to ourselves, and also what we put in our body, physically, emotionally, and everything in between. So it is a full-fledged journey into self-love. And all you have to do is head to the link in my bio or go to paulfishman.love. That's my first name, Paul. Last name, fish like the things that swim in the sea, man like me, .love/self-love diet, one word. And with that being said, remember, you are worth it. You deserve it. And you are not alone. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you another time.